I didn't learn how to manage it well. So I kind of just like took it and I fucking sprinted instead of like taking it as a marathon. What is up, y'all? My name is Lizzie. I'm a self-learning UX designer. And if you're on the struggle bus too, welcome. If you're new to this channel, don't worry, this channel is pretty new anyway. In this video, I want to keep it very raw and authentic. So I'm going to share with you my experience of burning out and having self-doubt of my self-learning path and finding hope again, which sounds so cheesy. So just to preface, the reason why I started this channel is because I want to provide a candid experience of someone that is full-time self-learning UX design. Part of my experience with it so far, I'm 2 months in by the way, is that there has been perks and there has been challenges. I coined this experience as the UX design self-learning struggle bus because I am on that struggle bus. And so in this video, I'm going to really flesh out what I mean by that, because in these past few weeks, I have burnt out and I'm still recuperating because that shit takes time. I'm just gonna start out by talking a little bit more about my burnout experience. So I have a video in my channel that documents a day where I think I initially burnt out that day. I just woke up and felt super low energy. I had a super severe headache and I just couldn't focus at all. Since then, I experienced the post symptoms of burnout for like 2 to 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks since I initially felt the burnout, and I'm only starting to feel like 87% myself. So I'm starting to regain my energy. I'm starting to regain my confidence because that kind of led to self-doubt for me. And I'm starting to regain my motivation. Let me just unpack what I mean by burnout. I am an all or nothing kind of person. So whenever I fixate my mind on a goal, I go at that 150%, which to a degree is like a really great quality to have. But the thing is that it's not sustainable because you're exhausting your body and your mind, which leads to burnout. That's what happened to me. Just to like give you a little bit more insight to like what this looks like. For the first month of my self-learning journey, I was waking up at 6 a.m., which was unnatural for me, simply because my mind was constantly zeroed in on UX design and it was just constantly stimulated and excited about learning more, which it seems like, oh, that's super exciting because wow, like I finally found something that I'm super passionate about and I get to do it full time. But with that sense of enthusiasm, I didn't learn how to manage it well. So I kind of just like took it and I fucking sprinted instead of like taking it as a marathon. Essentially, I was trying to optimize my time and energy to really expedite this self-learning process so that I could quickly get from point A to point B, which is from where I was at self-learning to B, getting employed. The amount of time that I was working during a day was like between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And this is on top of having a part-time job on the weekends and also doing volunteer work, and then also starting this YouTube channel, which is a lot of work. And I should also mention that because I was so hyper-focused on learning UX design, it's gonna sound dumb, but I skipped breakfast and lunch and I only relied on coffee, which naturally curbs your cravings. So I was only having dinner, meaning that I was malnutritioned, and that's not good. So that definitely fed into like my burnout. The last thing that also fed into my burnout was not having a healthy social life, which like who really is having like a thriving social life in this pandemic right now, right? but I wasn't even giving myself like a day in the week to hang out with friends. I would still FaceTime, but it's not the same with having like quality in-person, socially distanced, social kickbacks. I just wasn't having human interaction basically. So obviously I burnt out, and then it got worse and it kind of influenced my mood. So then I was experiencing emotional dips. What I learned from this experience is that when you're working to exhaustion for a month, you cannot be thinking that you could recover and recuperate within a week's worth of time. Even if you're taking fat naps, which is what I was doing. I'm only beginning to recuperate from that burnout because I'm starting to now incorporate breakfast, lunch, and dinner and eating healthier. I'm carving out time to do things that I love. So like I'm working towards my 200-hour yoga practice, and I'm reading more books, and I'm listening to more podcasts, like recreational shoot the shit podcasts. If you're hip to like Genius Brain or No Chaser podcasts, those are my shit. That's how I'm starting to get into a more sustainable, healthy mindset of taking on this self-learning journey. All right, so now I want to talk about self-doubt. So coming into this self-learning path, I was extremely confident in my decision. There's a reason why I withdrew from my bootcamp. There's a reason why I spent so much time and energy scouring the internet to build out my own core curriculum and create a solid game plan for myself. Now, it wasn't until last week when I had a loved one tell me he supported me in my decision to make a career change, but if it was him, he would have done it differently. He would have held his full-time job and just grinded after hours. Now listen, at the time, I was just in shock with the subliminal judgment, because I think this judgment was passed accidentally, but it kind of just came across to me like it was a judgment on my decision. Typically, if I wasn't in this more like emotional state where I was already burnt out, already exhausted, and more prone to self-doubt, I would have been like, bro, whatever. I think I just like tripped up because like I was not 100% myself, and it just hit me differently. It sucks to say this. I think I was doing pretty well with regaining my energy and my motivation and confidence, and that comment just set me back a little bit. As in a few days of me just being engulfed in imposter syndrome and just kind of self-doubting whether or not I made the right decision for myself. And it wasn't until I started to reconnect with mentors and had these like uplifting conversations, and that really reinforced my path, my decision. Judgment is something that you just can't escape ever in your life. It's just how you manage it. What helps with how you manage when judgment is passed on to you is just to remind yourself that everyone's going to have a different lens on the world. So the lens that you have on your own eyes is completely unique to you. The way that you see the world informs the way that you do things and your decisions. And so if you are confident in those decisions, then that's all that matters, right? There's really no point of self-doubting yourself, because it's just going to set yourself back. It's just a waste of energy and time. Having those conversations with my mentors really did uplift my spirit and got me back to me being closer to 100% myself. And that involves the confidence, determination, and the motivation, most importantly, in this calculated risk that I took for myself. Hearing people's journeys to their destination inspires me to enjoy my own journey. The reason why I burnt out, simply put, is that I was like, fuck the journey between point A and point B. Let me just take a shortcut from point A to point B as fast as I can. And that's just not a healthy or sustainable way to look at the journey. So I need to have more patience. I need to have more kindness to myself, and I need to really remind myself to enjoy the journey, because it is enjoyable for me. Since then, I am feeling a lot better. Oh, also the last thing that really tied the bow with uplifting my spirits again is my YouTube channel. So I actually neglected creating video content for this past 2 weeks because I was not in a good place. But oh my god, within this past 2 weeks, I received an increase of subscribers and people that comment on my videos. And it's so crazy because when I make these videos, I'm literally talking to a camera and I'm like editing it and uploading it, and it kind of feels like I'm putting this out into like an abyss and not really hearing people back, but people are actually engaging with me. Y'all engaging with me, and bro, I appreciate it so much. Even now I'm feeling a big jolt of energy again, and it just feels so cool after coming out of that burnout period. So thanks so much for watching. See y'all later.